Welcome, Midnight Movie Talk live here on this Saturday night. Last time we did a live show on a Saturday, we were in the same situation or similar, let's just say right now, because these are just allegations. Um, Remember last time we were here on a Saturday, we were talking about Jonathan Majors, that breaking news that, of course, he was arrested in New York City and was charged with assault. We'll get into that in a moment, but we want to talk about the breaking news here tonight, which is Tenoch Huerta, who is Namor, as you may or may not know, from Wakanda Forever, and is planned to be Namor for some time in the MCU going forward. It might be all on pause here tonight because he has been accused of sexual assault. Let's go to the article. And I had to actually do a translate on this because it is a Spanish publication called Reforma. So I'm going to go to the actual, I just copy and pasted the entire article and placed it into Google Translate because I think that's the best way we're going to be able to figure out what's going on here, other than he has been, the headline here, accused of sexual assault. Okay, saxophonist Maria Elena Rios distanced herself from the Poder Prieto collective. We're going to talk about what that is in a minute. So I did some research on that. In a moment, we get to that. Pointed out that actor Tenoch Huerta he is a sexual predator, according to her. On her social networks, the activist also published her annoyance for various actions of the group in which she did not agree. Her quote here: "I made it very clear to them when I left their sect, as she calls it, that they protect the violent and sexual predator, in caps, of Tenoch Huerta," bringing his Twitter handle into it so that he would see this, "that they did not publish anything about me. They still went to look for me at a concert of hypocrites to avoid scandals for their Marvel movie," she wrote on Twitter. Okay, so although the instrumentalist, saxophonist, has not given details about what happened with Huerta, some internet users asked her directly if he had sexually assaulted her, to which she answered in the affirmative. And she was not the only woman. Okay, continuing along here with the translation. Again, this is just directly if some of this is not perfect, it's because Google Translate is taking the Spanish from this article from Reforma and, of course, doing the work for us. Rios also expressed her dissatisfaction because she accused the collective of publishing a podcast episode in which she participated, but without receiving payment for the contribution. Okay, so accused of sexual assault. Now, I'm going to show you here this, let me get the name right. Prieto Collective, Poder Prieto Collective. This is the website that they have. And if you click on the different tabs at the top, you got actresses, okay? And Maria Elena Rios is her name. Let's see if we can find her on this page. I don't see her. So she again, she's a saxophonist. I don't see her. Okay. Let's go these actors here. So this is, I'm trying to figure out exactly what this is. Let me go to the actual start page again. Okay, Poder Prieto was born from the prevailing need to change racist narratives and practices, which has been normalized, reproduced, and perpetuated in the audiovisual and entertainment industry. We're a community created of actresses, actors, and members of the audiovisual industry, civil organizations, academics, blah, 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 have lived at a disadvantage due to the origin of their brown or black skin tone. Okay, so it says, and together in a choral voice, we say enough is enough. So this is, Tenoch Huerta is either the founder of this or one of the big key members of this Prieto collective. And I don't see her here, but it's not just actors and actresses that we see. We go back to the actresses, and I don't see, her name is Maria Elena Rios. And I do not, if you guys see, come into the comments and tell me if you see it. I don't see her on the page. But this collective doesn't just represent actors and actresses. It sounds like it's people involved with any kind of audiovisual, which would be a saxophonist, which apparently is what she is. So let's talk about bigger scope here. Obviously, on the heels of what happened and what is still happening with Jonathan Majors. The last thing that Marvel wants to see is this news here. Again, late on a Saturday, very much like the Jonathan Majors situation. Now, if we discuss this as the ramifications for the MCU, it's certainly an easier fix should this be substantiated. Again, this is an allegation, okay? So when these allegations come out, yes, they get reported, but until the accused has to trial and is guilty of the accusation, then it is just an accusation. So if they need to recast Namor, that's going to be a much easier process than having to go back in like we may have to have happen with Kang, because obviously Namor is not as integral to the MCU as Kang, as we know, going forward with Loki season 2 and Kang Dynasty. Huge. This will be easier for Marvel to clear up if they have to recast. It's not going to be as big of a situation. But again, this is the last thing that they want to see here tonight. And I'm talking about Marvel. On a Saturday night, Kevin Feige down the street, Marvel Studios, Manhattan Beach, going, oh God, not again. I mean, that's the reaction is, I can't believe this is happening again to us. Let's go over it one more time. So her name is Maria Elena Rios. She's part of this Poder Prieto collective that has connections to, or was founded by, or one of the people heavily involved in is Tenoch Huerta. She is calling him a sexual predator in caps. And that they, were looking for her, saying, don't say anything, right? Which is typically the story. Like, how about you not bring this to the forefront? How about you not talk about this? Again, we can't comment on the validity of the accusation. That'd be ridiculous. Here, this just broke like an hour and a half ago. This news is just coming in here, but we just wanted to discuss the latest on this. And the bigger issue here, and the reason we're on live here on a Saturday night, is more trouble for Marvel Studios, as you see scrolling across the bottom of your screen. The last thing that Kevin Feige needs is another situation here, because we know that the situation with Jonathan Majors is far from over. Okay. In fact, let's do it. I haven't done a news search on Jonathan Majors in a while, because it's gone away. We told you what's the number one thing that Marvel wants this thing to do. They want it to go away. Okay. The last thing I see here is a page 6 article about Jonathan Majors. He has a new girlfriend. Let me pop that up. So I mean, this is going, I guess, as best it can for Marvel, as far as it kind of falling into the background. It's fading away. Doesn't mean it's over. But what I find interesting about the Jonathan Majors situation is that now he has a girlfriend, right? Now he has a new girlfriend. He's got a couple. He's keeping it low key. I think that is, listen, rule number one when you're in the middle of a PR shitstorm is try to put a lid on it and make it seem normal. So look, he has a new girlfriend. He's keeping it low key. We haven't seen him anywhere. And we saw the same kind of thing happen. Remember James Franco, right? James Franco, all but canceled by Hollywood, gets the girlfriend, disappears. It's kind of like the playbook for PR. So we don't know what's going to happen with Jonathan Majors. It's not settled, even though I know Marvel would love it to be settled. It's not settled. So that's, 1, 2. Obviously, Majors being the larger issue, but tonight, Tenoch Huerta accused of sexual assault, and it's just the last thing that Kevin Feige wants to, deal with at this point, right? I mean, it's just an absolute nightmare for this. I mean, Black Punisher, it is another one, and it's sad if true. Okay, these are all hypotheticals. These are allegations, but it's hard not to just say to yourself, what a shame if these things are true, that these guys can't manage their emotions and or are taking advantage of situations. That is absolutely sickening. And if true, again, but that's the thing, is like, why can't we just have, I'm sure Feige's sitting here tonight going, why can't I just have a guy who goes to bed at like 9:30? Why can't I just have that guy? Why do I have to get, but that's Hollywood. Hollywood, there's always something with someone out here. And again, we are here tonight. This industry brings some, let's just say, interesting characters into it. And I think there is certainly a power issue in Hollywood, right? For someone, and now again, this is all absolutely all speculation. But when you look at someone like a Tenoch Huerta, who now has suddenly ascended, right? Not at the level that Jonathan Majors ascended as quickly, right? But still from a relative unknown before Wakanda Forever to a name that I think all of film Twitter knows. And I think if you're a hardcore, if you're any, like even a casual movie fan, you're very likely familiar with the name. And to see his ascension and his strength of his collective, assuming that this is his group that he started, he obviously has something to do with it, because that is, right there. It's in the story that this Prieto collective is where she met him. And again, I'm going back. Let me pop it up one more time. Let's go back in there. When I look through this, I don't see her. Not that, I mean, if we clicked on it, we'd obviously want to know as much as possible. Just, you can see there's obviously the resumes of the actresses. But again, this woman is a saxophonist, so she would not necessarily be included here. But again, this is the page here. I thought I had this thing translated, but now it's not. That's the other issue with the story, is we're dealing with the translation, because this was published on a Spanish language website, and as such, you have to go ahead and pull out the Google Translator, which we did, and let's bring it up one more time. Let me pop it up. So there it is here. Again, making it very clear to them that I left their sect, she calls it a sect, that they protect their violent and sexual predator, Tenoch Huerta. And then obviously she came out with her allegations because she was just like, let's just do this. Let's push the button, right? Now, this is different from the Jonathan Major situation, because, as you know, he was arrested, right? After the victim was allegedly assaulted in the taxi, he was booked. She came in, showed her, the signs that she was not sexually assaulted, but assaulted, and they booked him. And obviously he had a court date. So it's different. This is not that. This is an accusation. And again, more troubles for Marvel. And that's not a good thing, clearly. But again, if you look at it, let's just go worst case scenario. Okay. Worst case scenario, you have to recast an actor who is not as integral to the MCU as Jonathan Majors. So it's something that is, at least I would say, manageable. Okay, manageable. Why is this news? MCU is already dead. No one, even the target audience, bought Namor. Disney may be happy to have another excuse to ditch Phase 5-6. I mean, you guys came in with that a lot, Patrick. You come in, I know, a lot with some strong takes. A lot of you are unhappy with where MCU's headed. I understand that. And that's a whole nother show. But we can talk about that tangentially, but it's really more about, for me, a lot of these shows that we do, it's about the business. It's about the behind the scenes stuff that goes on that has to now be dealt with in the MCU. And Kevin Feige's like, man, why? Why does this have to happen? I wonder how many kids bought Namor action figures. Who knows? I have no, I didn't go to Walmart to see if they're on the clearance aisle. I have no idea. You guys know personally, listen, let me take it aside here. Not the biggest fan of Tenoch Huerta as Namor. It has nothing to do with the allegations or what's going to happen. But I need to state that, but it doesn't matter, because what I always say is, whenever we do any kind of news, right, when we talk about box office, and we're talking about factual based discussions, right? Not subjective shit. Objective, here's the news, what is. Your personal biases have to leave, okay? That's the number one thing you have to do, and you guys know that's one thing I'm able to do, okay? So even if I don't like him as Namor, didn't think he was great, it doesn't matter, because I'm just telling you the facts of the situation. I'm not happy this happened or something, right? It's all about what happened, and now what does Marvel do? But at this point, there's really not much more to go on. With Majors, there was quite a bit more because obviously it's a bigger deal to the MCU when you lose your Kang potentially due to the physical assault allegations. Then that's a problem because you just shot a whole series and you might not be able to show it, right? In fact, tonight I saw Past Lives. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the stream. I don't want to do any. This is only about the Tenoch Huerta thing here tonight. But when I watched it, I saw Next Goal Wins trailer. Remember Next Goal Wins? They had to go back in and replace Army Hammer with Will Arnett. So that was just like a small thing. You can see when you watch the film, he's not in the film the entire way. Kang is in Loki season 2, like 60% of it, my source tells me. 60%. You have to go back and reshoot the entire thing. I mean, 60% of the show, that's like almost all of it. So it's one thing to replace Army Hammer in a Next Goal Wins. It's another to replace Jonathan Majors. And if need be, to replace Tenoch Huerta, I don't think anyone's going to be losing any sleep over a different Namor. Okay? And not a lot of people had a really strong reaction to his portrayal of Namor. Whiplash, it's fine. Listen, you're not alone. Some people enjoy the movie. I'm not hugely a fan of the film. It's not the worst MCU film. I don't think it's one of the best. It's definitely bloated. It needs to be cut down. What film doesn't, though? Less of an issue compared to Kang. I mean, they could technically just not incorporate Namor again and be fine. Kang was meant to be the next thing. Exactly. It's a much less of an issue. Like percentage-wise, right? Kang is a 99 issue. This is like a 1-2%. I mean, it's so small. You can change this so fast. It's not that big a deal. The Me Too movement and cancel culture has done irreversible damage to our society. It gives women an opportunity to make up allegations. Listen, but mega YouTube, listen. We can't say that. Not right now. We cannot say that what Maria Elena Rios is saying here tonight is not accurate. We can't say that. It's way too early. Listen, did I come on here and say like it's over Tenoch Huerta's guilt? No, we're just bringing out the allegation that's here and talking about it in the larger scope of what happens to the MCU at this point. That's all you can do. But we're not going to judge, jury, executioner on Tenoch Huerta. That's not what we do. Okay, that would be terrible. First of all, as a reporter, as an objective journalist, which I consider myself to be without question, and we evaluate films, it's different. It's subjective. I'm allowed to be as opinionated as I want. But when we are looking at the facts of the case, tonight you have a woman who accused Tenoch Huerta of sexual assault and says there's more victims than just her. As such, that is what we're working with. That's it. An allegation against Tenoch Huerta. And if they turn out to be accurate, what happens to the MCU going forward? That's it. That's all there is to say here tonight. Another minute, and we're out of here. Again, recapping the breaking news. This woman, Maria Elena Rios. Let me pull up the actual article from the website, which again is Reforma, Spanish language. And as I do the Google Translate, I'm going to read to you one more time what the article says. On her social network, the activist, which is her, also published her annoyance for various actions of the group in which she did not agree. I made it very clear to them that when I left their sect that they protect the violent and sexual predator of Tenoch Huerta. They did not publish anything about me. They went to look for me at a concert of hypocrites to avoid scandals for their Marvel movie, wrote Milena on Twitter. Although the instrumentalist had not given details about what happened to Huerta, some internet users asked her directly if he had sexually assaulted her, to which she answered in the affirmative. She said yes, and that she was not the only woman. So that's the key right here. Let me switch the tabs. This is the key when you look at this case. This is where we are. This is the headline. This is what you need to know. Although she's a saxophonist, instrumentalist had not given details about what happened to Huerta. With Huerta. Some internet users asked her directly if he had sexually assaulted her. She said yes, and she was not the only woman. So, there you go. There's our headline here tonight. Guys, we're back here on Sunday, tomorrow, with the regular MMT box office. Will Transformers beat Spider-Verse 2? Looks like it's going to happen. We'll talk about that along with my reaction to Past Lives. disappointing in that film. But again, here's the breaking news tonight. If you missed any of it, roll back. It's pretty tidy. We got it done. Thanks for being here, guys. MMT on a Saturday night. We're back Sunday night. Good night. Live from Los Angeles. Eric Weber saying peace out.